Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. In this video, I would like to talk about Dead Space and Dead Space 4 to be more precise. I'd been doing some digging to see if this game was ever going to come to light, and I know they had really high expectations for Dead Space 3 and said that it needed to do really successful in order to justify making a fourth one. But I did some digging, and this is what I found. Visceral Games spoke up about the issue and where they stand on the possible sequel for the game. In an interview with Games.TM, Visceral Games general manager Steve stated, Many people here at Visceral have a warm spot in their heart for Dead Space, and right now we're busy with Hardline and other things. But it would definitely be something we would love to look at again. And there's definitely a lot of interest internally for us to pick up that franchise at a future date. And what does that exactly mean for Dead Space is that it is not, I don't think, coming back anytime soon. As the article is a little bit older, they were still working on Battlefield Hardline, which released already, and I'm sure they plan to support it with map packs and everything. And I also know that Visceral is working on a Star Wars game now that the rights have been purchased up by Disney. That is the next game I would expect after Battlefield Hardline, so prep pretty much means that at least for another 2 to 3 years there will be no Dead Space. I don't know if they would just reboot the franchise or if they would actually continue where they left off in Dead Space 3. This is a spoiler warning for Dead Space 3 if you've never played it. The DLC episode that comes out after the main game has pretty big implications for the game world. It shows that the giant planetoid creatures are at Earth, and that's where you're at when you finally make it back to Earth, and then it just kind of cuts off from there. So it really leaves the game on a cliffhanger, pretty similar to actually where Alan Wake left off at a cliffhanger, and of course that franchise is in limbo as well. Now what this does though too, which gets me a little bit excited, is if they probably won't even start talking about Dead Space 4, if that's what they're going to call it, like I said, for at least another 2 or 3 years. And I wouldn't expect it actually to be released until maybe even 5 years, so closer to 2020 possibly. But what this does is, as long as they continue the story and don't reboot it, and they don't use like an opening cutscene in the new one to explain what happened in the last 3 games, that leaves them open to doing an HD trilogy collection, which is pretty popular at the moment. I know a lot of games are being re-released for PS4 and Xbox One, and there's been rumors of course, like an Uncharted trilogy. The Halo Master Chief Collection released on Xbox One, but of course that was a huge disastrous mess. And, there's talks of other games being released as well. So, I mean, that would be, I think, pretty cool. Update the visuals slightly and bump it up with a frame rate and maybe add some new network features. And then the next year release Dead Space 4. That way, people buy the collection and then it gets them excited for the new game. But that's my thoughts on the game. I really do like Dead Space. I really think it's probably, since it came out, the best survival horror game or even survival action game. It far destroys the Resident Evil franchise and what they're doing now. But what do you guys think? Would you like to play another Dead Space game? Do you even care about Dead Space? Leave comments down below, please. Hit me up over on Twitter at SodaCast, and come check me out on iTunes at Podcast Uploaded. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.